Hello friends, Girl Friday Crafts here. I'm gonna pop down and say hi. If you've watched my videos before, you know I don't like my face in the video. And this is more of my body in the video than I like. But to have it at the angle and me to be able to work and you all see it, because I always forget to check that, you have to see a little bit of me. So I have an Etsy order to fill, so I figured I would make a quick video. This is what we are making. I did this a few minutes ago and I'm not really happy with how it turned out. The spell, which is in Superstitious, the September color of the month for Chalk Couture, I think dried too fast, and so there was some lift, and I didn't want to try to fill it in, because I didn't want to mess it up. I'm going to keep this one for myself. Shucks. But I washed the transfer and dried it, and going to do a couple of things differently this time and see if it will work. So I've done a few Chalk Couture pieces on these wood box frames that I bought online, and I've never waxed the surface. But I'm actually going to just a smidge this time because the paste bled. So for those of you who have not seen a Chalk Couture video before, Chalk Couture carries chalk ink and chalk paste. They also carry their own surfaces, and most of those surfaces you don't need to wax, and the wax prevents the paste, which is what you use on non-textiles, from bleeding when you apply it. So we're going to let that sit for a second, and then I'm going to buff it off. Any wood surface that you use, you're supposed to chalk. This is not wood. I don't even know what that's actually made out of. And like I said, I've done these before, and they didn't bleed at all, but or at least not that I noticed, I guess I should say. Sometimes when I'm doing something for myself, I don't pay as much attention to the end result as when I'm doing it for a paying customer, how it should be. So Chalk Couture makes surface wax, and you can use that on non-Chalk Couture surfaces except for glass, and that keeps the paste from bleeding. So you apply the wax. You can just use a microfiber cloth. I have the actual wax applicator from Chalk Couture. That's interesting. So on this surface, the wax is leaving a bit of a visible film. So that's interesting. I wonder what that is. I wonder what that means this surface is. Also, means I might not want to wax this. Which is interesting. Sorry, I'm talking to myself, not the camera. And I know you all can't see it, but I put the wax on here, and as I'm buffing it off, it's leaving a bit of a visible film. I'm not sure how visible that will be in an end result. And I'm not sure if it's going to dry. Like, will it be visible if this dries? So I'm going to do this a little bit more. Go all in one direction. It's nice and smooth, which is good. Okay, we're going to try it and see what happens. I have multiple of these. If I have to do it one more time, it's not the end of the world. This is a quick project. It's easy to do. So I'm going to put the transfer on here, and I don't use placement tape or anything. I just sort of eyeball it. These things lift easily. I did not defuzz it, but I did just wash it, and it hasn't been sitting on the backing sheet, so it should be okay. I'm going to put it on there. One thing also, wondering, didn't really do the last time, was it does help to sort of go over the transfer from the center out with your fingers, just to make sure it's really adhered to the surface, which I did not do when I did this a few minutes ago, so that might have been part of the problem. Okay, so I also know that I tend to not put the paste on thick enough. So we are going to start with Superstitious. That is my writing on the lid. It doesn't come like that. This is Chalk Couture's color of the month for September. I am pretty sure it is sold out at this point. I've been very anxious to use it. I just got it in an order the other day. I have not had a chance to use it yet. So I'm going to cut a mini squeegee in half so that I can really get into this middle section of letters without worrying about getting my paste everywhere else. I'm messy. I'm still fairly new at this, so I am still getting my technique down. And I am also still really learning how to get the paste on nice and thick so that it doesn't dry out too fast. This is a very small transfer, and if it was a bigger transfer and I was using multiple colors and it was going to take me a little longer to do, I would probably use a drying tool and you can use a blow dryer. I have a small craft drying tool. Lift the transfer, dry this part, put the transfer back down, do the other colors. I'm really hoping to just be able to do this without having to use the tool, because this should be really quick. So I am putting the Superstitious on in my middle section, in the middle section of the transfer, not my middle section. Although, again, I'm kind of messy, so me wearing the paste, not going to say that's never happened before. Fortunately, it was on a shirt that says craftiness is happiness, so having a little paint on it really isn't that far out of the perspective of the shirt. I also keep a rag on my lap because I end up getting paste on my fingers. So then we're going to do my Shimmer Gold. You always want to stir it. I did just use these a few minutes ago and I did stir them then, but I'm going to stir it again. I'm not stirring it as much as I would be if this was my first time opening the jar for a project, but there's little stars. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5 little stars on this transfer. So I'm going to do those. And this is a small, this is a small squeegee cut in fourths. Learned that trick by watching somebody else's videos. Thank you, Debbie. Can't remember the name of her Facebook page, but she is wonderful and very fun to watch, so I will put that in the comments. Restyle and Refresh DIY, I think, on Facebook. She is actually how I got introduced to Chalk Couture, through a friend who was watching Debbie's videos. And she's just very fun to watch, and I've learned lots of tips and tricks by watching her, as well as getting some really cool ideas. And then this is Black Velvet. Use this for the last of the lettering. the other part of the mini squeegee that I cut in half for this. I was watching Debbie do something and had a lot of small, intricate design, and she was using multiple colors, and she was like, I just took a small squeegee and cut it in half. I was like, oh my goodness, my mind is blown. And I mean, it's just the simplest thing. I was like, well, of course you can cut these things in half and create smaller angled pieces so you can get into some of these smaller spaces and make sure that you're not overlapping your colors. Now, one thing that I do sometimes, and I would do it on this if this was just for me, is when I'm using multiple colors, I will put the color on, and then when I squeegee it off, I just squeegee it all off at the same time and let the colors blend. And it's really very cool what happens when you do that. But this is in order, and that's not what it looked like on the Etsy page. So, yeah, I'm taking a little liberty with it by using the Superstitious instead of the Shimmer Violet, and I am going to send her a picture before I put it in the mail just to make sure that it looks okay to her. But I'm not going like completely crazy. Okay, so all my colors are on, and now I'm just going to very gently and lightly squeegee off the excess. Of course, I just put the lid on that. I don't want to. I feel like I got it on thicker this time, and so I should be okay. We're hoping. So I will say squeegeeing when you're doing multiple colors is a little challenging. Drop that in my water bath. So for those of you who've never watched my videos before, I keep a water bath off to the side so that I can drop my tools in, and I do drop my transfers in there when I'm done with them. You don't want to keep your transfer in a water bath for a very long time, but if I'm trying to whip out multiple projects at the same time, I don't have my craft rooms in my basement, and I don't have a sink in the unfinished part of our basement yet. I don't want to constantly be running up and down the stairs to try to wash my transfers, so I do stick them in the water bath, usually no more than 5 minutes. So I can tell that dried by how it came off with the squeegee. So here is hoping though that when I lift it, the transfer, that it won't pull, that the waxing, the surface might have helped. Okay, so you're going to get a corner, and you want to try to lift as straight up as possible, not lift on a diagonal. Yeah. Oh, no, don't fall back. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Okay, so the waxing helped. Putting the paste on thicker, I was moving a little faster. Probably did help that I had done this once before. Really hoping that wax kind of dries up and doesn't leave those streaks on the surface itself, but I can take a look at that tomorrow and see. So that's the finished product. So I'm not sure if you can really tell the difference between this one and this is the first one I did. But you can see like the bottom of the P and the curve of the S and the side of the A, and the curve of the P. The paste just isn't quite on there all the way. And sometimes it's supposed to look like that if the transfer is designed for it to look a little distressed, but not entirely. And so if I put them side by side, the differences are pretty minute, but I can tell. Although it's interesting because the black on the eye isn't as thick on the one I just did. Well, I'm going to just have to let them sit and think about it and decide actually at the end of the day which one I think looks better. I still think the one I just did looks better. Not really sure I can say why. Okay, so that is it. Thanks for watching. I will throw some links up in the chat. I will put, or in the chat. Not on Teams, sorry, work mode. I will put some links in the comments. I will link to Debbie's Facebook page. She is great. I love watching her. I would put a cart link for this project, but I'm not sure that this transfer is still available. This was part of the Witchy Vibes collection. If it is still available, if it's not retired, I will put a cart link in for this project. If it's not, I apologize. But I can put cart links up for the paste colors, and I can do that because they're well, no, I can't because the Superstitious. I'm sorry. But you could use Shimmer Violet, which would look really cool. The first time I actually did this project was with Shimmer Violet, so I'll do that. We'll do that combo. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope you all have a great day.